Okay. Just hoping that this is live. Just pop this over here. And there we go. Hello, welcome. Short stream today, hopefully. If all goes well. We're going to be adding biomes to Untitled Dinosaur Tycoon game. So, be fun. So, to do this, I'll show you what I've currently got. It's a word generation system. I'm also going to go let the dog in because he's being a right menace, making barking noises. I'll be right back. I should double check my mic is actually working. Yep. Okay. Okay, so okay, so at the moment I have basic world generation working in that it generates like lakes and grass and dirt and sand, and the grass and dirt, and that use the temperature, humidity sort of thing. So we go in here, I've got an editor window, so at the moment it doesn't update the map, just the actual textures here. So this is the height map, so I can tweak values like this and make the height map really chaotic, or I can make it really small. I can add more octaves to add like more sort of rough noise. Change this to have the roughness make more of an impact. Change this. I've written next to them. So this is roughness and this sharpness. So like the more you drag it this way, the sort of smooth the edges, whereas the more you drag it this way, the sharper the changes. These are all just sort of values that I picked sort of randomly to get this nice kind of looking thing. So the plan at the moment is to add like actual biome sort of selection. I don't know if I've done it on stream before, but where you have like, so back into here, we have our different things. So we have height, rainfall, and temperature, and then I'm going to build like biome rules or descriptors that basically specify what biome something is based on like a minimum, maximum temperature, minimum, maximum humidity, minimum, maximum, and then it'll pick the biome that has the best like result. So I should probably add some more different terrain types first, which is going to be pretty easy. So let's go to terrain, and there's like in here somewhere, there's going to be something like terrain type. Mesh. Terrain material, is it? Yeah, terrain type. So we should add probably snow for low temperature, rock for just like another type to have, and then let's see something else. And forest, which is just going to be like grass but darker. So now I need to go chase the decompile errors. So first off, UV, then terrain, material. The snow is going to link to, I guess, UV type. We'll have to add a UV type for snow. Terrain type stone rock. So add a UV type for rock as well. Rock, and then terrain type forest. And add a UV type for forest. Really, the UV type should be like a color instead of the type that I've given them, so that it's easier to come up with what's what. But the main reason for that is elsewhere in the code. So it's not in here. Where is it? Chunk mod. Okay, so you need to derive certain different terrains. So you need to be able to match with rock, snow, and forest. It also needs to be rock, snow, and forest. Okay, then we need to go to UV types and add rock, snow, and forest. So down here, we've got rock, snow, and forest. Okay, next, then we're going to come down here and we're going to specify some UVs for it. So UV, we'll start with snow, because snow should be fairly easy to create, I assume. Because it should be easy to spot. We're going to color map white. So 1, 2, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. I think it's out of 16. Yeah, okay, so 8 out of 16. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say, okay. So you're at 8 times I'll just put 0.7 because that's right height. I think that's the bottom row at least. I'll just go here, calculator. 1 divided by 16 equals 0.6 times by 8. Oh, this is going to be 0.5, isn't it? Is it 8 or is it? I think it's 8.5 actually, 1 times it by. So divide by 8 to get back to there, times by 8.5, you should be right. 0.5. Where my calculator go? 0.532. Okay, so that's snow, and then we want 2 more. We need rock and forest. So rock is going to be nice grey. Hopefully the grey is somewhere easy to access. Come up grey. So we want this kind of grey here, so it's 3. Hi, not much. Just working on my Untitled Dinosaur Token game. I'm adding terrain generation to it so that like it actually picks biomes instead of just randomly generating terrain. So it's gonna have a little bit of a busy work making certain tiles and stuff up and like setting colors and things like that, because I haven't exactly got this written in the most ergonomical way to add things. But so rock is 1 divided by 16 times by, say 3.5. 0 to 1. So that means you're in the same place as grass. That puts you in exactly the same place as grass, which seems wrong. Where is grass? Okay, grass is up here. Oh, it's 0.7, which means so that's 7.5, I think. So we want like, yeah. I'm glad you tuned into the stream. Yeah, it's only gonna be a short stream today. I've got plans for later, but see what I can get done. So it's you need to be like 9.5, I think. Yeah, maybe 9. So well, actually no, it's actually you need to be 9. So rock needs to be this one. 9, and then hold on, jungle wasn't it? Or forest. Forest needs to be like a dark green. Track that dark green. So dark green is take grass and just take it all the way to like 7.5. So it should be light and grass, making maybe like 6. And then forest is going to be that number, and then 7.2. Okay, that should hopefully be the right numbers. So then need to add them to here, which is UV forest or UV rock or UV snow. Okay, so that turns them. Yeah, a lot of this is just really janky code that I've thrown together to get something working. So you're saying you don't have matching types. There we go. Rock or snow. We don't need to fix this one. This is just it takes screenshots for placing the right tiles. Should probably fix it. I don't know why it requires spawn tiles. Somewhere I'm obviously specifying what tiles to surround it with. Here. Okay. So we change this to if next equals terrain type water, then terrain type grass, else terrain type water. Yeah, there we go. Dereference. Thank you. So that should mean that we can generate our screenshots now. So we go cd crates screenshot builder. Okay, cargo. That should build all my new tiles. And did I spell that wrong? Apparently. Okay. That should work fine. That'll generate these screenshots in here, so the dirt and grass and that's why water needs to be different, is because the water only builds its sides if it's not adjacent to water, and so these all have water so that they're adjacent to water. For some reason dirt doesn't, but I'm not quite sure why. It's a bit weird. Anyway, so I guess next we need to make like a module biomes, where we're gonna put all the like biome rules and stuff. So go here, go mod biomes. So we're gonna need a struct biome rule. A biome rule is going to have a if I want to know how to import a function, is that how to import a function? I don't know what you mean by import a function. Like if you mean like if you want to make a system, systems just are functions. But yeah, the Bevy examples are probably the best way to learn like actual implementation details. My Bevy Basics series is pretty good at showing you, like, it'll explain systems, it'll explain resources and events and things like that, so that you actually like understand on like a mechanical level what you're actually doing. But the actual implementation of how to write them, you're probably best doing that in wait, what? I bet you I'm calling them in the wrong order because I added the editor. So, I'm not even adding the editor. That's probably what the problem is there. From what I remember, docsrs is like automatically compiled documentation. So if you were looking for very specific things, like all the methods for a let's see if I open up the right thing so I don't accidentally open up something stupid. We go here and we go, I think it's docs.rs. So docsrs, and then we go to Bevy. So docsrs like will show you everything, like all the features and stuff. So it's like if you're looking for something Bevy related, like it's the automatically compiled docs for Bevy. Custom pointer logic. You mean by custom pointer logic? Like, Rust doesn't tend to do pointers, so I'm assuming you don't mean like pointers like in C. custom pointer logic. If you mean like custom logic, like for like a specific vector and stuff like that, again, the docs aren't the best place to look because the docs are references for when you already know what you're doing. You want kind of examples rather than references. So if we go to BevyEngine, yeah, like okay, like a cursor. Yeah, so your best bet for that is probably in Learn. So there's the official examples, which will have picking. So that's what you want is in here. There's mesh picking, there's simple picking, sprite picking, and they will give you like working code examples. They won't explain necessarily how it works. Like there's obviously some comments, but they go into detail like an actual functional working example, whereas the docs are just more like a compilation of the actual things. Like when I hover over this, oh, it's not going to work because I'm not in the IDE. If I go over here and I go to something like add systems, let's go to main. If I hover over like add plugins, the docs RS will have all this information because it can sort of scrape it from the comments, and sometimes not necessarily. They can write stuff like include docs or ignore docs if they don't want some of this stuff to show up. But like the docs are automatically compiled by knowing the actual compiled code. They can build like a reference tree of like, hey, these are all the functions that are ever implemented, as opposed to trying to read it in code. It's like technically you could implement it here, you could implement it somewhere else, whereas the docs are like, hey, when it's compiled, these are all the functions. So it's more of a reference for when you're looking for specific things like the parameters that a function takes and the methods that you can call on a struct, things like that. That's where you use docsrs. Most of the time you want the Bevy examples or the there's a Bevy cheat book. Bevy cheat. I want to say sheet. So the unofficial Bevy cheat book. This one has a lot of like, again, it's sort of written in a like a read from beginning to end. Like here's examples like intro to ECS, the app, systems, where it actually explains what you're doing and why you're doing it. Whereas again, docsrs is like dry, like manual level. Like it's where it's like you know what you're looking for, so you're just sort of referencing it, as opposed to like an example or tutorial that you're trying to learn from. Why are you not compiling? Right, because I was adding. The entry to the original material when it stops hovering over an entity. Would docsrs help in any way? It could, because if you go to the docs, I forget docsrs ever exists anyway. But if we go right back to docsrs, if I go to, I think it's called, is it Ray? Raycast. Mesh Raycast. So I can see there's some examples and stuff in here. Like this tells you all the methods that you can call, and you might find one of these is what you're looking for. I personally think that the IDE is easier. Like the IDE, I can try to get this code working just so I stop getting distracted. Just give me a second. Plugins. Okay. Yeah, cool. Default. That should fix that. Yes. So like, we go down to one of these examples and we just say like, grab me Ray, and then say Ray, mesh Raycast, like so. So it needs a switch to pointer to community. So okay. Seen SWE agent yet? Huh. I haven't seen anything about SWE agent. That seems interesting. Anyway, so if we go to the Raycast here, I find that the IDE is easier because this will be all the same information. Like if we go to pull them up side by side, you'll see that up here, this information is the same information that the IDE shows. So it's got the information at the top. Then usage is here. So as you can see, usage, and it's just one-for-one configuration. It's just like a website that compiles the docs. And I find this is easier because I can go F12 and then I can actually like look through here and actually go like, hey, I want to do this or I want to do that. So I find it easier to run around hidden from the docs in the IDE, but I also find that that's because I navigate the IDE much more than I navigate the docs.rs. Why can't I? It's interesting. Screenshot saves the path doesn't exist. What path do I save them to? Yeah. The AI stuff's pretty cool. I find the only issue with ChatGPT and using it specifically for Bevy is that it's the few versions behind where it'll say shit like I was trying to make a video recently using it where I was like going like, hey, tell me what you know, and it just goes, oh yeah, that's a paradigm that could be implemented with Bevy. I'm like, no, it's actually in Bevy now. Like it's which is just because it's obviously before 0.15 and the feature was added in 14, I think. So it doesn't know about new stuff, so it's a little bit broken like that. But that's just yeah. How do I make this run then? CD dots. Cargo run. I think it's P. Is this how you do it? Hey, there you go. Yeah, it's either but the advantage to GitHub Copilot over like the just using ChatGPT is that Copilot can at least read the surrounding code and gain context from that. Like when I was using Copilot, again, this was back when it was free and many years ago now. Apparently, I'm getting old. It was really good at you could write some code and say, hey, like comment this code, and it was really good like that. But it wasn't the best for writing actual unique code. Yeah, it's also just not necessarily not enough training data. It's also very much outdated training data. Like Bevy changes every 3 months, so it tends to be like really confused when you try to use any of the newer features. Which I guess as Bevy becomes more stable and there's more training data from more versions that haven't changed since they were added, it's probably getting better. But at the moment, there's probably as much training data from the early days of Bevy as there is training data from the current version of Bevy, or like even 2 or 3 versions ago Bevy. So it's a bit weird. I believe there is actually. If you go to ChatGPT, and hopefully it's signed in, and it's not going to make me try and dox myself again. Like I am human. It's interesting. Why is it getting me to verify? Anyway, if I go to the extra GPT and go Bevy, I'm pretty sure someone's made a Bevy one. And the way that these ChatGPTs are made, I believe, is that you feed them additional training data. So if you feed them yeah, see, Bevy 0.13, expert. So from what I understand, well, this one's got like 800 comments. It's pretty good. You can feed it like the entire Bevy docs, and then it should, in theory, learn the docs, like most up-to-date docs, because that's what you gave it, and it should also be the most fresh in its mind because it's the stuff that you've like fine-tuned it on. And so I don't know how good they are because I've never really used them at any kind of level to try and get them to do anything for me, but there are in fact like you can train custom ones. I feel like training one if I could work out how, just as a like I'm a YouTuber, so I can post it like and make it like sort of the default community one that people can contribute to, sort of thing. Because as you can see, some of these are like 500 comments on it, 300 comment. Like they obviously, or maybe that's chats. I'm not sure what that. Yeah, 300 plus conversations. So like, it'd be interesting to make my own. I'm not sure what they're available in. 03 models. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into making one. I've considered it, but I haven't actually looked into it. But as maybe I should do that because that'd be an interesting video. And let's create. Click create. Create. Build a new ChatGPT. Use something more creative to help generate new products, make new software engineering, help to code. Okay. So your name, description, conversation starters, knowledge. Okay, you can upload files under knowledge. Which HB will, and files can be downloaded when code. Okay. I thought they're up to 04, but I'm not sure if it's for ChatGPTs, like 4.0. But is there an 04? Is that a separate thing? I'm not sure. See 01. Confusing. So there's 4.0 and there's 01. I also might have different limitations because I'm in Australia, so I technically get it for cheaper because I get it in 20 Australian dollars instead of 20 US. But then I put so it's actually cheaper, but it may mean that I don't get certain features. I'm not sure. Next one. Okay, so 03. Yeah, so I guess 03 is not out yet. That or it's just not available to me. Because I also know that they roll out the newer ones, sort of like some people get it, but not everyone. Anyway, yeah, you guys always get me sidetracked. I never seem to make that much progress on stream. It's kind of one of those funny things because I stream so that I actually work on my game instead of just getting distracted doing other shit. Anyway, as you can see, we generated a rock and a snow and a forest tile. Why did the forest tile do the same thing? Why does the dirt work? But it's iterating in the wrong direction. It'll have something to do with when I'm taking the screenshot. It's kind of hilarious. So technically forest is not correct, and then all the others are. Nah, don't worry about it. Getting sidetracked half the fun of streaming. It means I get to talk about shit and make interesting videos or interesting VODs for people to watch. It's better than like me silently sitting here coding because nobody's talking. And then when you go to watch the VOD, like nobody watches it past like the first 5 minutes because it's just like kind of boring. This one's gonna be the same thing because I think I sat in silence for the first 5 minutes because I went and let the dog in. But yeah, anyone that makes past the first 5 minutes is gonna have an interesting time. So we need biome rules. So this is gonna be like min temp. I kind of feel like I want to make biome rules an enum. I don't know. And then we can have like a biome. Like so. And then that biome will have a list of rules. No, you're not an enum, you're a struct. The rules. And then we're gonna say like you're a like a vector of biome rules. So then we would need something like min temp, and then give you an F32 and a max temp F32. Yeah, you have a much better idea. The biggest concern with the Bevy Basic stuff is that I've been doing this for years now, so the first few videos should still be fine because the way I used to do the videos was I would structure them like concept, how it applies to Bevy, and then examples of how to do it in Bevy. You'll probably have to skip most of the examples because they'll be hideously out of date. But the concept behind them I don't think has changed. Like the ECS concept as a paradigm hasn't shifted, and those that have, I've done updated videos. Or at least somewhat updated videos. But Bevy did a funny thing for a while there where every time I released a new video, they would do an update and change it. So some of the videos are hideously out of date. Some of the videos are like, some of the names have changed out of date. And some of the videos are like, nothing's changed since like version 2. So if you look at the thumbnail will have a big yellow like version number that was Bevy at the time that the video was made. And then from there, you might have to check the migration guide to see if anything changed. Like between versions to see if you need to update it. It's another way where the IDE is a really good example, is you can just use the IDE and it will tell you if there's an error. Bevy's somewhat good, but kind of like only one version behind good, of if you're using code that got changed in the last Bevy version, it'll tell you, like it'll still work, but it'll be deprecated. And then the version after that, they remove it, which means as long as you're only one version behind, it'll be fine. Rain. So yeah, going through those videos, you should be pretty fine, as like they teach a lot of high concept stuff. Chess game trying to do open source. Elite chess project in 3D. Elite chess. What the fuck? Elite chess style. Let's just have a look at that. I don't know what that is. Partly because my brain is just elite chess. Right, is that just like a layout for chess? Okay. So I'm assuming it's just a chess website. Like LI chess. That's cool. I've lost what tab I had open. There we go. Back to the, okay. Oh, okay, yeah. I've definitely heard about it. I watch some amount of chess on YouTube. I tend to not, because I don't actually play chess, which means that like watching chess commentation and stuff like that is really, really boring, because they'll like talk like in terms of how things move, and like they'll talk in chess notation, and it's like I have no idea what's going on. But I also do enjoy things like someone made like Chatfish, where they got their chat to design the rules for how the AI played, and that's really fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can join the Discord. There should be a link to it in the stream description, and feel free to post anything there, any questions you have, and when you finish the code, that'd be like, I'd actually be interested to see. No code, I'll just command line. Huh. Does that right more? Right. It's interesting. I think the code editor is really important for writing code. I'm far from a Bevy pro. It's more that I was literally talking to someone because they wanted to do like a series where they interview they wanted to interview like big famous people in Bevy, and they asked me, and I was like, I don't think I'm really like famous in Bevy. So the great people of Bevy, I think it was called, or something. And when I was talking to them, they were like, oh, how long have you been doing Bevy? I'm like, oh, like I think it was 0.3 that I started. And then I went back and looked, and it's like 4 years ago. So it's less that I'm a pro and more that I've just been doing this a very long time. Yeah. When I say like the code isn't kind of important, I think a lot of the like AI would be significantly better if it was fed through a code editor as it was like learning or like structuring its code, because the AI just writes gibberish sometimes. And if it was actually forced to interact with an IDE, like if it could do certain autocorrect commands or something, some way of forcing the IDE to have some kind of control over what the AI is doing, I think the AIs would learn code a lot better, because code is quite rigid and structured, which natural language doesn't necessarily follow. So the IDE, I think, would be a good way to shunt the AI into fitting into the box. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm glad people enjoy my videos so much. So some of my videos I'm not nearly as proud of as others. And what's the fun thing, because it's just always the case with YouTubers, I will put no effort into a video, upload it, and it'll get like 2,000 views. Or I'll put shitloads of effort into a video, edit it, like make sure it's like, and it'll get like 600 views and not even like, and it's like, it really unmotivating that the more effort I put into a video, the worse they seem to perform. Some of it kind of makes sense. Like the videos that perform the best are videos like the Bevy update videos, because Bevy updates happened and everyone's trying to find out all the information. It means I can get to sit down and just read through the update log for an hour and a half, and that video will get, 3,000 or 4,000 views. But when I go and edit a video where I spend ages researching and coming up with all the different bits and pieces, hooks, and that was when I was just doing, and then I don't know how well Hooks is doing. That video only like just premiered like a couple of minutes ago, so let's go have a look at that. Studio. I'll go back to normal studio, please. Let's see how that video is doing. 6 views in 15 minutes. It's not terrible. I think the video is also still premiering. Not sure. Go to analytics. Yeah. So it's interesting that like I find that the more effort I put into videos, the worse they perform. Yeah. I think the other thing is usually when I put little effort in, it's not necessarily that I'm actually putting little effort in. It's more that like I'm inspired with the idea and creating the video, and therefore like the video is really easy to make. Whereas sometimes I'm like I put a lot of effort in because I don't actually know the video topic well enough, and so I'm actually trying to learn the topic myself, which is why I did hooks, is because I was actually using them in this game somewhere. I think it's in here. Like I use hooks somewhere here. So I use hooks here, and I was actually like doing research to work out exactly what specific point, like what hooks to hook into and what I should be doing. And I learned a lot. Like I learned that on replace actually gives you access to the data, because originally if I go to my map struct here, it actually has a second hash map entity to chunk. No, that's not that one. It's I think it's entity to ID. So entity to ID was allowing me to reverse ID to entity until I realized that if I put it on the in replace, I actually have access to the data before it's removed, and therefore don't need to store a copy. Whereas for the longest time in Bevy, if you were doing removal detection, you had to keep your own copy of the data, because by the time Bevy told you it had been removed, the data was gone. So you actually had to already know what was there to be able to remove it. So that was always a fun, interesting thing. Anyway, so we're working on the biome rules. So we also need UTB terrain, which is just a terrain type. Okay, so I think we need to import biome, and we need to say fn. So we'll check rules. I guess we'll just call it can be, and then we pass in a reference to self and a sample. I guess we'll reference the sample. So sample and then reference to terrain. I'll try and brush. What did I call it? Got to be super something. Super map sample. Yep, map sample. Like so, and then we go do. And then we go, you return a boolean, please. And then for each terrain rule, we need to do that as well. So we need to import terrain biome rules. And we go fn, I guess test, and then we'll say take self, take in a sample. Like so, and then we say super map sample, return a boolean, and then we say match self, and then we fill in all the rules. So so the u goes sample dot min temperature. So if that's the minimum temperature, then we return true if temperature is greater than a value. And then we should probably just fill all of these in. like so. At the end, backspace all of them, say sample dot, I guess we'll go height, and then we'll just make them all have the same rule, and then we'll tweak it as we go. So next is temperature. So you're less than, the temperature is less than the maximum value. The we change it to rain, and you can stay height, and then you need to go less, and you need to go less, and then you need to be rain as well. Okay, so that's all our rules implemented, and then we come down here, and then we go here, and we go self.rules.iter.fold. What's that fold? And then so we start as false. No, we start as true. True. And then we say rule, I guess, I don't know. And then we say I think, wait, how does fold work? Fold, F needs to take in a function that takes in B and item. Okay, so it needs to take in current and rule, and then we just say current and rule dot test, passing in sample. I think that works. That means we can test the biome and it'll return true if it's allowed to be that biome. We need a priority for our biomes as well. And that's an I8. Okay. So I guess next let's go. I'll just make all of these public so I don't have to be particularly pedantic about how I access them. So then we need to go to our map descriptor, which I think is here. Somewhere is a map descriptor. We're going to say biomes, which is going to be a vector. Oh, no, a vector of biome. Biomes, biome. So then somewhere we implement you as default, don't we? Yes, default here. So then we need to go let biomes equal vec like so, do that, and then say biomes. Thank you. Okay, so then we need to go biome. We need to say your terrain is terrain type water. Your rule is also a vector, and that's going to be a biome rule. To bring that in somehow. Is that not public? Is that what my problem is? It's not public. Okay, pub biome rule. Okay, so biome rule, max height of 0. A terrain type of water. I've already done that. So there's our, and then we need to say a priority of negative. I think it's I8 min. So I8 min because we want water to be the last selected priority. Or maybe you say max. No. Yeah. Kind of. So the only thing we really say is that water can't be above a certain height. Okay. So then the interesting about this is going to be working out what exactly we get. So we're going to say biome. We need to go, because it's going to be like refine the biomes until you get a certain rule. So terrain type, so it's going to be snow. Because the other thing is we can also use multiple biomes that have the same type. and like therefore they can have like the different rules but return basically the same terrain type. So you can have a default grass but then also a different grass. Biome max. No, biome rule max temperature is like negative 0.1 maybe. I don't know. This is the annoying thing is I don't priority 0, please. I don't know how to like what the minimum and the maximum range that the noise generator can generate, because depending on what values I set can change what the generator can generate. So that's always fun. The other thing to do would be to add rules to the biome. So biome snow. So what's next? So we kind of need to go. I guess we can go like. I guess we want the snow to have a priority of -1, so that anything else can be there. It won't be snow. Then we want to go like maybe rock if max rainfall -0.1 with a priority of 1. I also want you to have a who knows. You kind of need a fallback biome. I guess the fallback biome would be so water can technically not be the minimum, so it's the minimum +1. All right, so then we want something like forest with a minimum temperature of 0, so it can't be below freezing, and a biome rule. Minimum rainfall, min rainfall of 0.1. That should be fine. We should probably add our priority, our dirt. And dirt's going to have no rules, but dirt's going to have a priority of I8 min. Okay, so I forget what other ones I have. So rock, snow, dirt. What are the terrain? The grass. So I had a grass. So forest is the temperature needs to be above that and below something else. So the minimum rainfall. So if the rainfall is not minimum, so we're going to say technically your minimum rainfall is that. And we'll put you as a priority. We'll use a priority 0, and we'll make forest take a higher priority because it's technically slightly more precise. In that the rainforest or forest will fall on rainy sand, and then we just need to go. You're supposed to be grass, and then you're going to be sand. So the minimum temperature for sand is going to be 1.1. The minimum rainfall is going to be removed, and then we'll find out what this looks like. So I mean, sand technically we should probably give you a priority of -1. I'm not sure why I'm giving sand a negative minimum temperature. It's technically more precise. The priority should be determined automatically by preciseness somehow, but I don't know how to do that. It would require too much thinking to work that out. But it'd be nice to have some kind of system like the more rules, the higher the priority. Therefore, like the more you refine where something can be, the like you give each rule a priority, and then like the priority is determined by summing all the rule priorities. And then if I add rules like positive rain versus specifying a specific value of rain, yeah, interesting. Anyway, now we need to go back to, I think, somewhere. Annoyingly, I have to change this to ref, please. I think that's how you do this. Does that fix it? Nope. Okay. Do I turn them into a reference like that? Does that work? No, it's saying you can't. Nope, can't do that either. I don't want to dereference them all. Fine. So we're going to have to go something along the lines of dereferences. Nope, other way. Dereference these. Okay. Apparently minimum height is never called. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess the default should be water. No, they put water all over the place. Anyway, so we need to go back to fold. How do I... Oh, oh, hey, look at that. Okay. That's why I use the what's it called, the clippy things, because they tell you they look about cool functions like that I didn't know existed. Anyway, so we go back to here, and then we go here, and we go, hey, so I need the world descriptor, which has its stuff, and then we need to go here. We need to go maybe we implement a function to the world descriptor and say have I implemented a world descriptor? I do. So there's sample hex. Okay, so there's get terrain. Like so, which is going to take in a self and a hex, which is going to be a hex ID, and we'll return a terrain type. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is going to go let new can underscore b equals a vector new. Okay. Then we say something about sampling it. That sample equals self dot sample hex with a hex. Like so, that gives us that sample. Then we go for biome in self dot biomes dot iter biome dot if biome dot can be passing sample, then can be dot push biome. Okay, so we do that, and then we go to the bottom here, and then we say can be dot sort. I want to say sort by. We say A, B, and then I believe it's B dot. B dot priority dot compare A dot priority. And then we say if let some technically we can just always go, it shouldn't ever not return anything, so technically it would be a bug if it returned anything, so we're going to return that. This is so I can catch it later. Hello. Hi. It's you again. I always forget your name, like I had to say it. Takutu? Yeah, should really not try and pronounce people's names. I can't fucking read. Yaguri. Like the surname. Cool. Anyway, so get terrain. So then we go back to map. We go, because technically there's one that doesn't have a rule. It's just got a really low priority, so you should always be able to return dirt no matter what. The trick will be is if it only returns dirt, then we know that it's because they're doing it wrong. So then we say this map descriptor dot sample get terrain, and we pass in ID like so, and then we don't use our sample anymore. And this should, so if they're all dirt, that means we're comparing backwards and we're sorting the lowest priority to the top. Oh, that's the wrong one. The wrong one. You can call me Iron Man. Okay, Iron Man. Alright, let's find it if I did this right. It's going to take ages because for some reason generating all the chunks and adding them all as tasks, which should be able to be done asynchronously, it doesn't do it asynchronously. I'm not sure why. I need to work on what this. I probably should just not spawn the entire thing at the beginning. Okay. So apparently snow is a little bit too picky. Also, apparently water should have a much higher priority because water's getting okay. So I think somewhere I can get it to print out what the what the potential highest height, lowest value is. Actually, we want temperature. So if I change this to 3 and click, and it should have printed out somewhere down here that the max was 0.5. So what we need to do is say that the snow to appear, the minimum temperature needs to be like way lower. So I don't know if you're being sarcastic. I don't think I can stream at 1080p because Starlink's kind of crap and it like I drop a million frames anyway. What I should really do is stream at the higher frame rate because technically the screen doesn't change enough that if it does drop frames, it doesn't really matter because 90% of the time it's going to be the same text anyway. So where is our snow? Snow. So we need to just change snow and say like, hey, if you're like 0.3, so the snow is much rarer. I think the next thing to work on is probably just we'll make biome rules. Maybe I can make this all serializable. That'd be interesting. That's something to do for the next half hour to wrap up the stream. Make it serializable. So we need to be like 30 equals this, and Ron equals this. Okay, so we'll add 30 and Ron, and then we need to derive. So derive deserialize. Okay, go up here. I'm going to go use 30 deserialize, and also wrong key, that one. Serialize. Okay, like so, and okay, so you're here with a deserialize and serialize. So that's not spelled right. Derive. Derive. Okay, not derive. I don't know what a derive would be, but it's definitely not what we want. Okay, then we go to biome. We can say you also implement that, which means we need to go to terrain type and say the terrain type also implements 30 deserialize and 30 serialize. Okay, so okay. The next is to work on the editor. So we go to the editor here. We go okay. Yeah. When I was at school, that was always the case. Like, I don't know if people in my class were just idiots or they actually knew that this was the case, and that's why they would always tell the teacher to put it at 1080p because it's better image, even though we were watching it not full screened for one thing, through a projector that could only do 720p, and so not only would the video need to buffer a hell of a lot more because it was 1080p, but the video would actively look worse because most of the videos weren't 1080p. They were upscaled and then downscaled, which meant that you ended up, like most 1080p video, when you compress it down to 720 or even like down to 360, which I think is what we would have ended up doing, ended up with the pixels being bigger because when it went downscaled again, the way it would sample meant that the pixels, it actually looked worse having the video set to 1080p and played in a smaller monitor than it would have looked just playing it in the smaller monitor to begin with, just because of how the algorithms worked out. It's kind of dumb. So yeah, I don't know if they were doing it intentionally or whether they legitimately thought it was better quality, but it's like it looked like shit whenever they did it. So anyway, what was I doing? I was implementing a so I need to go to biome, I guess, and we need to go somewhere down here and be like config feature equals editor, and then we go import default. I don't remember how to do it. Inspector GUI import, no. is it? It's not inspector option. Inspector GUI. Inspector primitive. This could be it. I don't think this is technically correct, but anyway. So unless you're going to tell me that I'm not allowed to. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then we're going to say for biome. So let's see if this works. So technically, so you can give an ID options. It's given access to self mutably, which is nice. Okay. So we can leave that as to do because we're not going to do that. So Boolean, and I think the Boolean is returned on whether it should be edited. So first thing we need to go is, maybe we should give each biome a name. So that would be going to biomes, going name. And no, fuck it. We're not going to give them a name. We just got to put their terrain as the name. Technically incorrect because you can use the same terrain twice, but we're going to do that. So we're going to say drop down. Okay, so UI dot collapsing with the heading of a format like say self dot terrain. Okay, and then add content. It's going to be a UI like so. Okay. So that's going to pop up with that, and we're going to say next we need to display. So we're displaying was going to call that, and we're going to go. So next we're going to go, I guess, UI dot horizontal. Now horizontal is going to say UI. So editor code looks really wonky, probably because I don't write it correctly, but we'll ignore that for now. So we're going to say you're going to have the label. Right, so UI dot label. The text is going to say terrain. And then we're going to go here. We're going to say UI dot. Then we need to say like let new change false, and then return change. So we go here. We go here. We go. Can I derive inspectable? Bevy, inspector Bevy, inspector EGY, inspect options. Is that like what I can derive? Is that a thing that I can do? Can I just say self dot terrain dot oh wait, that's it will say if I actually implement it on terrain as well. I think that might just be what I need to derive. So if I go to wherever terrain is, terrain, we go, hey, can I derive this and will you work? I don't know. We'll find out. Self.terrain.ui. Then we need to pass in UI options, which is going to just be like so. ID is going to be an so it's going to be an ID. Nope, wrong ID. And this ID. New source. I don't know if that's going to work. And then what do you want? You want the like so. The method exists, but it's something. So first off, self.terrain. So apparently terrain doesn't implement display, so we can really just debug it. I guess it shouldn't matter. So you're saying it exists, but what? Because terrain type doesn't implement reflect. Okay. Okay, so you need to derive reflect apparently. So reflect. Apparently it's to implement from reflect. Terrain type doesn't implement from reflect. We need to track down terrain type and say, hey, terrain type, you are reflect, please. You're confronting now. Environment rule is not reflect. Okay. Piece of fix reflect. Okay. And then we go, what is your problem now? It's saying that terrain type enums equals num. Wait, what? The UI method exists for enum terrain type, but its trait bounds are not satisfied. Following trait bounds were not satisfied. Terrain type standard equals num, which is necessary. So what he's saying is So can I say use Bevy inspector UI reflect inspector? Is this how I do this? Apparently not. Inspect. So it needs to be inspector primitive. Okay. How do I do that though? So it's obviously not inspector primitive that we want then. Is it like reflect inspector? UI from value? It seems like it could be worth UI from value? Not read only. Maybe it's this that I want. I have not done enough with the Bevy editor to be able to do this shit just off the top of my head. UI from value. So we need the value, which is going to be new self dot terrain dot as reflect mute. I think that's actually I think that's what I want, like this. Yep. Okay, and then we pass in UI, and we need type registry. Okay, and then how do I get the type registry at this point? I feel like I should just have access to the type registry somewhere. Yeah, okay. So you just have access to the type registry, thank you. So if I just go here and say type registry, like so. Okay, so you don't like that because what? It's not expecting a reflect. Partial reflect as partial reflect. Okay, okay. And then do I give it a dot changed? No. What do you return then? You return a boolean. You can tell me what the return type means? I'm assuming it means it's changed. I mean, the way to do that is to go here and go, hey, you are, yeah, from reflect options, changed. Okay, There it is. That's all I know. Because if one of them returns change, then that's what they're actually supposed to return. Then we say that changed equals is it or equals changed? There we go. So or equals changed just means that if changed is already set, it won't be reset if this is false, but it'll be set to true if it isn't. And then we're going to test that, and we're going to see what that looks like. Well, actually, we need to go to the editor here. We need to go. This has draw noise, so that's not right. It's in the editor window here. So we need to go to at the top here. We get that. We have that. We access the descriptor. So we go here. Go here. We go UI dot collapsing. I also feel like I've got height written here twice, which is incorrect. Okay, so heading is going to be biomes, and then the context is, I guess, UI. So UI, there we go here. Okay, and then we go collapsing. Wait, no, this is supposed to be here. Okay, and then we say for biome in descriptor biomes.iter. Then we say biome.ui. So we need to pass in the UI, we have to pass in the options, the ID, which I don't think we actually use, which is hilarious. So you are just going to be called ID new biome, and then the environment, and we need to do that, don't we? We need to go env, and we need to go env, then we're going to go, how do I get that thingy? I go context, the other context. There's a context that has access to the world. It's down here somewhere. This context, not this. If you can't tell, I've been doing this all day. This is what I was doing this morning. Well, this afternoon or something along those lines. Type registry. So you give it a dot read. So okay, and then we do this every time, don't we? So we need to put u. I think u inside of this, and then wait, no, each of these probably needs to be inside the loop as well. God damn it. Okay, and then we go here and we say env, like so. I don't think we need to write any either. So you can't borrow biomes as midu, which I've already dropped. Me can't. Okay. First off, iter mute. Okay, and then you are not liking this because temporary value dropped. Okay. So we need to say outside of the loop, let type registry equal type registry read, and then you just give a reference to type registry like so, and then that should maybe work. I don't know what it's doing at this point. Lots of fun. It should work. Here's hoping. Here is hoping. If it doesn't crash, then it worked in my books. The idea here is I should be able to select which biome. Now, I won't be able to change specific biomes. Apparently, there's a big cold spot there. It's looking pretty good. I don't know why there's big patches of grass. Maybe because it's actually forests, isn't it? Yeah, so it's probably because the humidity is high enough not to be desert, which is why we need to be able to tweak this thing on the fly. So what we are learning is that deserts are a little bit easy to make. So sand needs to be tweaked. So we probably need beaches as well as sand, but it'll be fine. So all we need to do is open this window, go to our descriptor, and we go, hey biomes. And then each one, I can actually change it to being grass. Hey, you don't like that because now your names are the same. That's hilarious. Okay, so we need to change their name at some point. So your ID is biome. So your biomes, so your ID needs to be format biome dash, and then you need to be biome dot terrain, like so. Right, that's the biome's name, and then everything else should be fine, because once we get into that UI, then I think the ID is kind of set there, isn't it? I think. Right, because then we go to collapsing, and then collapsing is terrain. So that should mean that each one is its own thing. Now, at the moment, there's nowhere to regenerate the world when we change the biomes, which I guess is a button we should add. So we need to go here, we need to go here, we got a map descriptor, go biomes, and go, hey, if I set you to being grass, are you going to break now? You still do break. Okay, so some point, I think I need to here and say like ID dot, I don't know, yeah, ID. Generates a new ID by hashing the parent ID and the given argument. Okay, that's not correct. So I think the issue is that we've got collapsing and it's got the same name. If they ever end up with the same name, you end up with an issue. It's probably a good idea to not let that be possible. How do I do that though? I want them to be able to have the same. So I guess that means go back to, no, not collapsing, go back to biomes and give biomes a name. Hub name, and this is going to be a cow static stir. So, like so, and then when we make these collapsible, it's not terrain. It's, I don't know how I'm supposed to give you an ID though. Anyway, name, self.name. Or I guess the heading is just all right, that would be the same ID, wouldn't they? Self. That's your heading. So clone. Okay, then I need to go upper layer. We go here. No, it's in the editor. This is complaining because it doesn't have, I haven't given them names yet. Not all the biomes have names. So collapse biomes, biome gives biome.name. See, but this just calls that, which means that technically it's not going to do shit because it's still got the same ID. Right, like I never use the ID. Right, we need to go here and give them all names. And that's probably going to end the stream for today because I've got stuff to do. So name, this is going to be name this is just fallback water. Let's call it water. Into. So should work. And we're just going to go each of these. Go. We'll call them all water for now, which is going to obviously break everything. I've just put name before it. Oops. So go find all instances of. Oh, go find all instances of this. Control F. Replace it with name. Do that, which means only the top one should be broken because it'll say name. That. Okay, you are dirt. You're snow. You are rock. You're forest. And you are grass. And you are sand. So, first off, minimum temperature. So you're actually desert. Because we're going to add another one. Which, technically, we should probably give it a lower priority because we don't actually want you to be picked all the time. So, desert. So this is going to be beach. Right? And the reason for beach is we'll put sand, but we're going to say instead of having a minimum temperature, you're going to have a maximum height of 0. Maximum height of 0.05 and a biome rule of a minimum height of negative 0.05. So only the edges of water should be able to be beaches, and beaches are going to have like a priority like 5 or something, so that like all the edges of water should be beaches. And we'll see how well that works. So it should turn out pretty well. I mean, if it works, I'm going to be impressed because I didn't get much of the editor done, but I also should need to add to the editor the ability to regenerate the map, so that there's actually a reason to edit in the editor. Another thing that I like to do with my editors is it's not going to be the best with this because it's technically a 3-dimensional thing of like, what the fuck? Well, apparently my beaches are like sand. Why is the sand all ringing the rock? Why has rock got a higher priority than water? That is the question, isn't it? I need to limit rock. Rock needs a minimum altitude because rock is supposed to basically stand for mountains. So let's change rock to mountain. Mountain, rock, and then we say minimum rain and biome rule minimum height is 0.3 and 0.2. All right. So tomorrow we will go through and we'll implement an actual proper editor, like so I can edit these, and also a button to regenerate the map. I don't know why it lags like it does, because I've checked. It's not that it's taking that long to generate the maps. I suspect that all the meshes are finished. It's like it's queuing something up. They're not finished generating. They are, something's going on. Something funny stuff going on. Anyway, now we have bigger chunks of water. We have smaller chunks of rock. For some reason, beaches are spawning inland. There's also no way to tell the difference between a beach and a desert. And my hope was that no matter what, we could give water a higher priority. If we give water a higher priority because it's top of the list, we can just say priority. Let's give water a priority of 1 because that means it's sand. With a beach with a priority of 5 outranks water. But water will outrank everything else. So anything below 0 should be water unless it's a beach. Because the only reason I think there's so much sand is because there's a bunch of spots where technically it's possible to be beach without the water being next to it. Anyway, yeah, so we'll add proper editor support so that we can edit more than just the terrain type that it spawns and also regenerate the map. So as you can see, all the water has nice yellow sandy beaches. Apparently the slope is pretty shallow, which is why the beach is actually quite wide relative to the thing else. So if we make those values even smaller, like, I don't know if we want to go 5 times smaller, maybe 2 times, 5 times smaller. Yes, proper editor. What else? Regenerate map. I think that's about it. And that'll be tomorrow's stream. So I kind of want to stream all day tomorrow, but I'm not sure if I will. It's one of those fun things where I'll wake up and feel like shit and not start streaming. I also want to make a video on Untitled Dinosaur Tycoon game at some point before I add too much. So the beaches look nicer now. It's pretty nice. So as you can see, like there's grass and then why is it a funky color? Something's going wrong here. It's rendering something it's not supposed to be. Why are you rendering 2 sets of meshes? There are bugs. Okay. Interesting. Anyway. Thanks for watching the stream. Yeah, subscribe if you want to catch up tomorrow's stream. It'll definitely be longer than today's. And I'll see you then, I guess. If I go here and we say stop.